Welcome to First Contact Radio. This is Josh Poet. I am here with David Lory VanDerBeek. He's a constitutional candidate for the office of governor for the state of Nevada. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you. Be with you, Josh.
How are you doing today?
Awesome. How about
Excellent.
you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So, I saw your video online, actually a couple of the videos, and felt that I wanted to get in touch with you afterwards to talk to you about the ideas you were talking about, but I guess even more than just the topic of what you were talking about, because there was qualities that you presented that were important, like, I don't know, you seem to exhibit leadership qualities, a state of fearlessness, and there was also some compassion in there because there wasn't a violent nature. You were very direct on your approach, and so I want to talk to you about some of that.
Well, Let me let's just go with that, because there's lots of great things that you said, and I really appreciate those. The defining characteristic of Americans, one of those, is that we don't live in fear. That we could speak our minds, live our lives, practice our religion, or be sinners, or be irreligious, that we could live our lives. We live and let live, that we let people do their thing, and that the government doesn't dictate our lives, steal our property. So the place that I come from now, I've spoken out in terms of being defensive and protecting our lives. In the first videos that you probably saw, I don't know if you saw that I talked about Sandy Hook. Then I talked about it was a video that said, "Did Obama order Sandy Hook shooting to get your guns?"
Mm-hmm.
Then I did a video, "If Obama sends police to take your guns, civil war."
Mm-hmm.
And then I did a video, "Mr. Obama, put me on the White House kill list." And then I did a video most recently, "Obama will kill more kids to get your guns." And so basically the purpose is to draw the line in the sand, and it's not out of anger or rage or hate. It's out of love. And so when I speak in terms of defensive violence, it can be a very loving act, and let me explain. You'll understand that it can be loving and compassionate to be violent if, for example, you're standing up to a bully who's picking on somebody innocent or weak. Violence can be loving and compassionate if you're standing up to a tyrant who would murder and abuse and poison and imprison innocent people. So I am coming from a place of love and compassion, because I understand there's a great documentary that everyone should see called "Innocents Betrayed." It's the history of gun control. And so it goes through all the historical examples of gun control around the world. Even Gandhi, a man who didn't ever use offensive weapons in his work, said it was one of the greatest crimes of the British government to disarm the Indian people. So just self-defense is an essential human right. And it's not the only issue by far. I mean, there's lots of other issues that I mention in there. The First Amendment I mentioned. I talk a lot about the banks that have purchased our politicians. So there's these interrelated pieces. The removal of the Second Amendment is really important for the elite that control Obama. And Obama's not the only problem. He's just the head puppet, so to speak. He's the master puppet of all the puppets in Washington. The reason why Obama doesn't get held accountable is because of the level of corruption in Washington. And so what we have to do as people in the states is we have to nullify Obama. We have to castrate or emasculate the power of the office of president, because it has grown tyrannical. That doesn't mean we ever have to harm the president. We don't have to do anything to the president. We just have to ignore the president and turn our backs on him. And that kind of shunning, it can be collectively done at a county level, a town level, a city level, a state level, that we can collectively just say, no, we're not going to do that, and you can try to send in federal troops. Ultimately, that you have to say, okay, if you're going to fire at us, we're going to fire back. I got a message on Facebook, and it was kind of amusing because the person seemed like a good guy, and he is a good guy, I'm sure, but he had been told by somebody else that I had refused to take the Oath Keeper's oath publicly. And so my newest video that is actually up right now, it just went live, is the Oath Keeper's oath and my oath. My oath is greater and goes beyond the Oath Keeper's oath, because the Oath Keeper's oath is all the things that military and law enforcement will not do, such as they will not obey orders to disarm the American people. I went further in my videos, and I've already gone beyond that. So I took the Oath Keeper's oath, but I gave my own oath that I will fire upon Americans in certain situations. And one of those situations in which I will fire upon fellow Americans is if those Americans obey orders to disarm the American people. Now, let me explain a little bit further. When I say fellow Americans, we have to stop thinking of police and law enforcement and military as police, law enforcement, and military. All they are is fellow Americans. They're fellow Americans. And if they choose to break the constitutional covenant that we have with one another as a people, then their authority is void. It's nullified. It's null. And so you have a right to defend yourself against Americans. And that's all you're doing, is that these are other Americans. We have to stop viewing them as the authorities, because they're not authorities. They're just fellow Americans. And they're fellow Americans that are, frankly, dishonest. They are distorted. They are fraudulent. Why? Because they're trying to be something they are not, and that is our masters. Because as human beings, we are all endowed. I don't think we're necessarily even endowed by our Creator. I think that it's even stronger than that, that just by virtue of being in a living intelligence, that's not just God-granted. That's just a fact. I don't think even God himself can violate the freedom of an intelligent being. And I don't think God creates freedom. I think he just acknowledges freedom that is a reality, a cosmic reality in the universe. And so when someone tries to take over your life as if they can, it's always a fraud. And the reality is, the truth is that at any moment, at any given moment, at every moment, you are free to reassert your sovereignty over your own life. And all I'm trying to do is to help Americans break out of the matrix of believing that they must obey these new laws, that these laws are even valid. That, for example, the executive orders, right? We just got those executive orders from President Obama.
Right.
Saying he's going to use mental health to enforce gun control. Those are, number one, by the constitutional covenant that we have with one another as people. He can't issue any laws. He can't act like a monarch. That's a fraud. And so my advice to you as Americans is stop cooperating with the federal government. And if they've determined, and they have, declared war on you, psychological, financial, social war on you, and not yet physical, but they're about to, you have every right to use deception in a strategy against your enemies. And I'm talking about good old-fashioned lying. If the government is going to come to you and question you and use and they can and will use every word against you, not even in a court of law anymore, but in some private camp or, NDAA-style secret detainment, you have every right to lie to these people. Stop cooperating. Don't tell them. If someone was going to rape you or stomp on your throat, would you cooperate with that?
I don't think so.
No, and that's the way our government is becoming. So stop cooperating. My brothers and sisters, stop cooperating. And I also want to say this. I don't get up and do videos to try to convince everybody of what's going on. I'm just trying to connect with people who are my family, like you, my spiritual, my constitutional family. You're the people who are already awake. We just need to organize as people who are awake, because there's enough of us already to stop this nonsense. Go ahead.
You just said an important word there, because I was talking with someone the other day, and it seems that the difference between what the government system has and what we the people have is just organization, because they have their organized units. We could see them. They got the army units, the way the government's sort of organized. But we the people, we're just kind of out there. Everybody's kind of willy-nilly, scattered a bit.
So, yeah, the response to that is the instructions are the first thing you got to do is you have to commit personally to do whatever it takes to remain a free human being. You know, you're not free because a piece of paper called the Constitution says you're free. You were born free. You're free just by being a human being. And so in some ways the Constitution does us a disservice because it makes it sound like we're limited to whatever that document says. No, you're free. You're free no matter what the lawyers write, no matter what the lawyers have come up with in Congress. You're free, and you have to assert that freedom, and you have to push back. You're not free because of a piece of paper called the Bill of Rights, okay? You're free. Now, the first thing you have to determine is to do whatever it takes to remain free. The second thing is to study out all the information, to take in the information as much as you can, and then look in your life at what you can do to prepare to protect what is yours at this point. That's one thing you need to do. And then you need to organize yourself with like-minded people. Now, those might be blood relatives, but oftentimes they're not. Some of the people I'm the closest to are actually not blood related at all. You know, they're just people I've come in contact with through the Patriot movement. It is like meeting long-lost family members when you get involved in the Patriot movement, because we tend to see eye to eye on a lot of things, and some of the best human beings that I've ever encountered. And then at that point, you just live your life, and you rock and roll, and you go steady, and you move steadily forward. You endure, and you persist, and you go from one thing to another. I didn't get to where I am as an influence in the Patriot movement overnight. This process began for me when I watched 9/11 occur in some ways, because when I watched the towers fall, my thought was not being terrified or traumatized. My thought was that there was something very natural about what was happening to our nation. And so once the war started and we started to lose rights, and the wars were illegal and they were based on lies, I continued to have more questions. From there, in 2003, I studied credit just independently, and then came across The Creature of Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. In 2005, a brother-in-law who he brought Terror Storm and Endgame to a family Christmas, and I went evolving from there, and here we are in 2013. So I went through waking up, doing food storage, getting firearms, taking care of my family, and then in 2010, I could see the police getting really aggressive, and that's the year that I decided to run for state assembly. I got involved in the Constitution Party. I found that they were my kind of people. I earned their trust. I was loyal. I stuck to the party, and then the next go-around in 2012, they asked me to run for U.S. Senate. I built momentum. I got 50,000 votes. I only spent $650. I didn't have any kind of campaign machinery behind me, but as a result of that, I contacted people who wanted to support me and wanted to work with me, and they have, and now I have a bigger campaign. And the day after the world was supposed to end, I started doing videos on the 22nd that happened to go viral. And I feel like I'm just speaking for people who haven't had a voice in the Patriot movement, that we've wanted to say these things, but we haven't. And so in some ways, we are the day after the world ended. And in some ways, we are what comes after Ron Paul. You know, we're going to take this to the next level. And so the world did end on 12/21/2012. It did end. And a new era began, and people were ready for that era of complete and full, vibrant truth. I say truth. Let's follow the truth, the whole truth, no matter what the consequences. Let's follow it to its complete end. I want the truth in every way. I don't want some fancy lies to protect me or make me feel secure. I don't want the government to stage terrorist events because they feel that they need to confiscate our arms so everybody's safer, like some Democrat suggested to me a couple days ago. I want the truth in everything. Let's take it to its complete end. And if we have cancer, and if we have Satanists in the government sacrificing kids, like they found in the Franklin sex scandal when John DeCamp and Lauren Schmidt were state senators in Nebraska, and if that stuff's still going on, I want to know the truth, and I want to go and find those innocents, and I want to protect them, and I want to expose it and solve the problem and get on with healing and get back to being solid families. You know that the FBI doesn't report statistics on satanic abuse or ritual murders? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that.
They won't report the statistics, neither will the police. So anyway, that's an interesting factoid. Not that I want to go off in that direction, but it's just an indicator of all the children that go missing and all the victims of those types of deaths. There are some supremely evil people around the world, and whether or not we believe in Satan, there are people that do in positions of power, and the problem is when we try to expose that kind of thing, the victims are laughed off. Nobody wants to believe the victims, and I say as a governor, one thing that I would do is I would create a little think tank to take in information about all conspiracies and just to try to debunk them. See, because through the scientific method is simple. Is to take a theory and test it, and if the theory can't be proven false, then there's probably some truth in it. And so I would have a think tank, and I would let people submit all their conspiracy theories, and if we could not find a way to disprove it, then we would look into it, whether that's HARP, whether that's Area 51, whether that's different kinds of weapons like the CIA having a heart attack gun, whether that's the bioweapons, viruses, vaccines, fluoride. I would create a think tank as a governor and look at all. I'll listen to anything because I can't put anything past this government. I mean, a conspiracy theorist is simply someone who questions known liars. So, that wasn't my thought. I've heard other people say that. That's just the fact of the matter is that conspiracies in our government are real. A conspiracy is simply a group of people meeting in secret to do something illegal. That happens all the time. You don't have to fantasize that. That's the definition of a conspiracy.
Absolutely. Now you touched on something that's important when you went off and you started talking about the satanic influences. Because it seems to me that in the society that we live in order to really be healed and to be a healthy society, we need to really be healthy on all different levels. And the physical level is just one level, but our spiritual books that are out there, like the Book of Revelation and the other works in the New Testament, they talk about a spiritual battle that's going on of light and dark. And it doesn't really get addressed. But what you've talked about is looking at that issue and realizing that is an influence in society, and we need to address that just as much as we need to address anything that's on the physical level as well.
Very good. For me, let me put it this way. I am a committed secular leader. And what I mean by that is I'm going to see the richness in the religious traditions of all people.
Okay.
But as a secular leader, I'm not going to preach to you. However, I love to hear people preach spirituality. I love to hear prayers. I love to hear people exercising their First Amendment, and I do believe that morality is best taught through some spiritual framework or religious framework. And I do believe that morality and virtue are core elements to any society. Now, personally, I would absolutely say this. This is one spiritual thing I will say, that good is real. and evil is real. And I'm one of the good guys. That's what I decided and know for myself. Good is real. It's not just an idea. It is a real thing. There is goodness in the universe. There is justice in the universe. There is love in the universe. It's as real as electricity. It's as real as gravity. It's as real as any physical reality that we observe. And evil is also real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see the influences every day, unfortunately.
You know, when I was working on my master's degree, you know, there's all these postmodernists, and a postmodernist believes that truth is relative, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you know, what's true here could be untrue there. And I'm here to tell you, in my opinion, there is no planet in the universe, anywhere, where child abuse is divine and holy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
You know, where child sacrifice, where child molestation or child rape or abuse, there is no planet anywhere in the universe where that's holy and divine. And so, to me, that is not a relative truth. That's, I mean, and so that's what I say to postmodernists, and that's what I said to them. And they had no response to that. I told that to them in my university, and what are they going to say to that? Oh, yeah, I believe that child abuse can be right somewhere in the universe. They just expose their own fraud in their own thinking. So people can be cute and academic, but at the bottom line, good is real and evil is real.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And you can't turn a blind eye to the evil that's in the world, because it doesn't make it go away.
That's right.
You got to do something. You got to throw some attention its way, and sometimes evil is just the squeaky wheel trying to tell you what needs to be fixed.
You got it. This is absolutely the truth. You can't ignore trauma. It doesn't get better. It actually gets worse. Oftentimes it can get worse the more it's ignored. It just builds.
Now, are you beginning your campaign now for the upcoming election that's in 2014? Is that correct?
That's right. We started this campaign pretty much the day after the last one ended. I just got in contact with the party leadership. I said, hey, I want to start. And they said, hey, you've got more energy than you know what to do with. Go for it. So,
excellent. And when are the elections?
Well, yeah, we're looking November 2014. So we are. See, the beauty of this is, let me tell you how this is going to work, how this is going to go down. If we are building all of the what you have to do in a campaign in this age is, you do need to get TV time, and you do need to get print time or print in the mainstream media. But the thing that made me so successful and enabled me to change the course of history Shelley Berkeley spent $11 million to lose in my Senate race. And I polled votes. The margin of victory was 10,000 votes, and I polled 50,000. And most of my votes came from Obama supporters, which means I made Shelley Berkeley lose after she spent $11 million and I spent $650. And the way I was able to do that, one of the key ways, is that I took over key areas of the internet, and I learned how to do that. So, for example, if all of your listeners and you just go to Google right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just started this, campaign a couple months ago. If you put in the Google search Nevada Governor 2014, so just put in Nevada Governor 2014. That's a pretty general search, wouldn't you say?
Yep. Yeah,
it's not saying anything about my name. And you go to the first page of results, you'll see of the top page of results, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of those results are me already on the front page of those.
That's good.
And on the second page of results, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those are also me. So that's the momentum already there. And Sandoval is the current governor, and he is a pawn for globalism. He will not defend the people's oath he will not defend the people's right to bear arms. I will get the endorsement from Oath Keepers. That's in the works right now. Oath Keepers was founded by Stuart Rhodes, and he's here in Las Vegas. But I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet, but I will get their endorsement. So we're building the momentum already. And the way Google works, the reason why Google is so powerful is because they got in at the beginning. And your power in the race, in the technology race, becomes exponential, because the more you are established in the traffic, the harder it is to remove you from the traffic. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Yeah, so you become, because this growth, I have done no search engine optimization. I have done no gimmicks. This is strictly organic results.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to YouTube, this is a powerful one. This one should knock anybody's socks off. If you go to YouTube and you do a search right now, you put in this very general search, Obama Sandy Hook. Just put in Obama Sandy Hook and tell me what the top video is.
Okay. Obama Sandy Hook.
Obama Sandy Hook.
That would be you.
Yeah, so you'll see, of all the results in all the world of the search, Obama Sandy Hook, you'll see a bunch of his speeches on the first page of results, but the number one video is mine. Did Obama order Sandy Hook shooting to get your guns? Nevada Governor 2014, David Lory VanDerBeek. So what does that tell you? What do you get from that?
Well, it tells the people are watching it.
Absolutely. It says that the people are watching it, and the trend is towards the truth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The trend is not in favor of Obama. He is on the run, and it doesn't matter if he is going to give you the perception that somehow he's winning and the cyborg of the New World Order is going to take everything and we just need to surrender. That isn't reality. It's all psychological. It's a psychological war. It's a psychological empire, and I call his bluff. Yeah, I mean, that's what these videos are about. I say he's a coward. Now, even if he was bold enough to execute somebody like me, that would have devastating results, because it would just simply validate everything that I've done. So I understand the risks that I'm taking, but I'm fully committed to the freedom of my family. Remember, the first thing you have to commit to is doing whatever it takes to remain a free human being. And because I've made that commitment, not just in words, but in fact, yeah, I'm fully aware of the risk that I'm taking to make these videos, these statements, and I am okay. I'm at peace with that. I'm fully at peace with that, because I am in the flow of truth. I'm in the flow of the natural order of the universe, and the people will respond. And Americans, I have complete faith that the American people, that there are enough great American people left, that they will do what it takes, that it will actually be far easier this time. It may seem like it'll be harder, but I think it'll be far easier, because we have already established a nation. We're not having a revolutionary war. We already had a revolutionary war. We are not revolutionaries. Obama is a revolutionary. He is a tyrant trying to overthrow our government. We are restorationists. We're restorationists. All we have to do is go back in the framework and restore it. The framework is already there. Another way of putting this is, these pains that we feel right now is, well, let me ask you this, Josh. Let me ask you this question. You're a man. How do you like being pregnant?
I don't know.
It sounds like a weird question.
Sounds like, yeah.
But let me explain one other spiritual reality that I really hold firm to. I watched my wife give birth to 5 children. Amazing, traumatic, challenging process. But I can tell you, once the baby is there, pregnancy is not fun, labor is not fun. Once the baby is there, that is joy. Mm-hmm. We as men have to bear our responsibility, and women will help us because they understand this. I mean, they're with us. But we men have to stand up and be men and take responsibility for the rebirth of this nation. And we are primarily responsible for the rebirth of this nation. Okay, that is our role in the natural order of things. We are responsible for spiritual rebirth. And women are well, I think that women are naturally spiritual. Men are naturally aggressive and more hardened. And so this is something that we have by nature of being males in this cosmic thing called the universe, that this is a way that we will begin to understand what it means to give birth. Because we are pregnant right now. We're about to go into labor. And we have to go through this so that we will know and appreciate what we've given birth to. And once it's here, it will be here pretty rapidly. Once the dominoes fall, they will fall.
It feels like it's a psychological issue at this point, because for a long time, the powers that be have duped society, and society has been duped over and over and over again, to the point where when you tell people that we have an opportunity to now get one over on them, people don't believe it. They don't believe that the good guys can actually win. But it's like, maybe this is the time. Maybe that's all the cycles that ended were about that old phase. But here's a new cycle, a new beginning. This time we win. This time the good guys come through. And that's, I think, the psychology that we as Americans, we as humans, just need to step through now, to know that we can.
Genius comment. And I'll tell you why. Because patriots don't know how to win. That's one of the most common things I encounter, is the attitude of gloom and doom. Okay? Patriots, the question I have is, I'll ask patriots is, do patriots know how to win? Do you know how to win? Because when you hit a home run, you don't say, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that again. You know, we just hit a home run. We just stuffed the Second Amendment in Obama's face, and I thought the executive orders were the orders of a weak man, personally. To hide behind a bunch of doctors and psychiatrists, I thought that was weak. You know, a strong monarch would have come out and said, we're going to shut down gun dealers right now. A strong monarch, a strong king, a strong tyrant would have come out and said, you know, we're going to put a hiatus on any sales of any more AR-15s for now.
Well, it seems like it's the objective is to build the system of snitches, to see who out there in America is going to stand up for other Americans and who's willing to.
So let's combat that with our own response, which is, let's lie to the snitches. Let's not cooperate. Just lie. You have a right to defend your family through stratagem, and in war, deception is a form of art. So you have to stop cooperating with your persecutors, and you have to learn how to win. I mean, they use deception in sports all the time. You know, if you look at a football play or a baseball play, there's lots of deception. That's why the third base coach is making all sorts of signs to the guy on first base. That's deception. You know, there's lots of faking and deception in athletics, and nobody says that's lying. We're in something far more serious. We're in a war for our freedom right now. And so if you got a bunch of social workers and CPS workers and psychologists and doctors coming after you, I tell people, why are you putting your true physical address on doctor's forms? What, so the CPS knows right where to come when you say something? So the police know right where to go? Don't ever give a doctor or the government your correct physical address. Lie to them. They want to stomp on your throat. Stop cooperating with this system of thieves. The government, the federal government, and the state governments, to a large degree, are a system of murderers, thieves, perverts. Why? Why do you cooperate with those people? They're psychopaths. So I understand that the government is built on trust, but we can't trust the government. So why should we be the trusting, naive schleps, you know? I say stand up. I say resist, and resist in any means possible.
Well, very good, very good.
Whenever the people rise up, the people win. It is time. Whenever the people rise up, the people win.
Absolutely, and it seems that it's the time.
It is time. It is time now. And I will be doing a video today about door-to-door confiscation, and so I'll go into more specific details about when I personally will fire upon fellow Americans. So I want clarification. I'll clarify that further. And everyone has permission. Go to my YouTube channel, David Lory VanDerBeek. You just search my name. You'll find the YouTube channel. The username is David Lory. You have permission to copy all my content and repost it, because the channel does get censored. Subscribers get kicked off. View counts and like counts get pushed down or frozen. That's okay. This is the fight. And but by all means, download the videos and repost them elsewhere, just in case something happens to the channel. And you know, this isn't a time to be petty or possessive. So I'm not maintaining any copyright here.
All right. Well, very good, David. Well, we will make sure we check in with you over the course of the year, just to see how the campaign's moving along and how things are progressing in general.
All right. It's great to be with you. I really appreciate it, Josh.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being on the show, and we will talk to you soon. God bless.